Right, we have wire, we have the piece, we have tape measure, we have needle, thread, tape for later, and I want to show you how wide this one is. This one is nearly right, 3 inches. So 3 inches wide, that one. Okay, we need to measure all the way around this one. I would recommend putting a pin in so you know where you started. Round to 19 inches. So we want to add 2 inches like we always do. So we're going to do 21 inches. 2 to 3 inches you can add. "19, 20, 21 inches. Let's do 23. I normally always add 3 inches just in case. Now you would have pliers. My pliers seem to have been left in the shop, in the studio. So I'm just going to do that to break it. I'm working in 2 places at the moment, here in the shop. So 2 to 3 inches overlap is fine. Now we're going to put a bit of tape on later on. I'm going to start it off, go around halfway, then add tape to the both ends inside and then carry on with it. If I put tape on now and it was slightly out by a few millimetres, then it wouldn't fit. So I find it good to put it in there and do it in there. And also, like normal hats, you would overlock. So I would overlock each end of this. But I can't really do that in here because the overlocking would show on the outside of here. So I'm going to go in, go around from like this point round to this point, sewing it down, and then put the 2 together, put some tape on them, and then finish it off. So you want it to be sewn here on this little top edge here, because this is the flap that goes over, and I want it to be sewn on this nice edge here because I don't want this to be pushed in over time. It shouldn't do actually because it's with the Percher hat, but if you're sewing this on its own, it would definitely sort of go in over time, so you don't want that. And I don't want it up here because then this bit can still sink in up to here. So I want my wire to go here, but inside. So I'm actually undoing this and going inside. With these Perchers, I'm only going to wire one of them because we're actually sewing them together, so we don't need to wire both of them. It could make it quite heavy as well, so we just wire one side. Just looking for my end. Okay, I've got my end here and my end here. So I'm actually going to end here and end here. I'm actually going to start sewing here, go around the bottom to this side. So I'm leaving that free so I can add tape on there after. So I'm going to start sewing here. Put a little pin there just to remind me. Now you'd use black thread for this one. I'm just using white this time just to show you so you might see the stitches more. Right, I'm coming from the back, I'm going into the underneath bit here in the back, not coming in the front way, and I'm just pushing the needle underneath the wire gently, and I'm going to come back over the top of the wire And then I'm just going to go around it a couple of times to make sure my thread is secure. Yeah, so now that's secure. Now I'm going to jump along about an inch, make sure my wire's in the right place, jump along and put my needle and thread underneath the wire. Because I've come out on the top of the wire now, so I'm going in underneath the wire. So you can't hardly see it, it's really, really small stitches in here, but I'm going underneath the wire, and then I'm going to come through the top of the wire. So you can hardly see that, but it's just a few millimeters. So I've come out underneath and I'm going through on top. Then my next stitch, I can go through underneath the wire. So it's as if you're wrapping it round and round the wire. So I'm going through underneath the wire, coming out, going back through the top of the wire, and then going across underneath the wire, and then coming back through the top of the wire, and then going down underneath the wire and coming out underneath it again. Right, so we've got that to that point there, and now I'm going to put the tape on. So find my ends, make sure it's all in place. One end is on top of the other, it's not all of it squiffy. And then I need to grab one of the ends to the wire. So one end is on top of the other bit of wire and we're grabbing all of it. And then I can get my tape and put it around one of these ends. Okay, and I can grab my other end to do the same. Make sure it looks good. Okay, that's one end. Okay, so now I need to grab both of them together, pull it out a little bit, just enough so you can get your fingers around it. Oops, it's all got a bit caught up. Got too much tape this time. Right, my end. And then we can carry on now and just sew around back to this side, and we're going over the two ends that have just joined together with tape. So I've got two ends that joined together with tape, and we're going over this end and over this end and going around back to where we started. And then knot it off. So nearly done inside there. You probably can't see them because it's quite good. It's being hidden on this stuff, but there, you can see some of the stitches there. They're reasonably small. They're about 2 millimeters wide. It's just going around the wire. So I will have to do that again in black, but just to show you, that's the little stitches. And when they're done in black, you can hardly see them at all. At the right colour, you know, you can hardly see them. And then inside, we've got some tape just there and this side, yeah, there, and it's all been sewn in inside to here, which is about here. Now we need to push this in and just tack this one down lightly. Now I've shown you this before, so you probably don't need to see this again, but I don't push it together really tight. I do it quite loosely so that because I don't want this to be pushed very tight to the edge and then I get a thin bit here. I want this to keep this roundness, so I will just tack this little bit here down, and I'll do it sort of loosely so that it stays in, but it's about a centimetre away from the edge. Right, so just tack that in and then we can start putting them together.